March 2020. A deadly virus begins to spread across the world. It will quickly become known as the coronavirus, and it's highly contagious. A wildfire disease spreading rapidly from person to person, country to country. It's soon being defined as a worldwide pandemic, the COVID-19 crisis. Within just a few months, millions will be infected, hundreds of thousands dead. Nations scramble for a solution. Personal protection quickly becomes the new fashion. Gloves and face masks are suddenly in high demand. So much so, they're running short and being rationed. National leaders urge people to stay home and stay safe.
Well, there is uncertainty, and I know people are anxious, and there's a reason to be anxious. The coronavirus spreads very, very rapidly, and for all those who want to sort of seek to dismiss it and think we can treat it lightly, we've got to remember that just on the broad figures, the fatality rate on the coronavirus is more than 5 times what it is for the flu each year. More than 1,000 Australian Defence Force personnel there are on their way, supporting in every task, from supporting the lockdowns to the tracing, which is so critical to getting on top of this, and even supporting paramedics out there. If those who are proposing an eradication strategy, well, if you get a breach in quarantine, that doesn't matter. It'll just seep out into the community.
In Melbourne, Australia, medical supplies company Softmed is responding to the crisis. In a large empty warehouse on the outer northern fringe, Softmed begins an ambitious project to build a medical-grade production facility in just a matter of weeks to immediately begin production of high-quality face masks and ventilators. The construction begins without delay, teams of tradespeople working round the clock to complete the new production facility.
Right now we're in the middle of constructing a brand new facility for production of medical devices, state-of-the-art facility. We're trying to get to the 7th level of clean room, 7th grade of clean room. As you can see behind me, everyone is running, working hard, trying to get in time. We're trying to build it in no time at all, just in a couple of weeks. As you can see, this facility will be finished within the next week, and hopefully in 2 weeks' time we'll start bringing equipment here, start testing it, high-end equipment to manufacture disposable masks, to manufacture respirators and all other devices we're planning to manufacture in this facility.
We basically got all our contractors together, the ones we could rely on, and knew that they knew the urgency of getting this room up, fairly swiftly. And it's basically just getting all those contractors working together on top of each other as well at times, and just trying to get the job done on time and without any issues.
They're racing to provide medical-grade face masks to protect frontline healthcare workers and the public. This is exacting work. The building must be airtight, temperature-controlled and dust-free. Foam-filled refrigeration panels are used for the walls and ceilings.
It's good insulation, also air can't get in, it's airtight, and it's very easy to use because it all clicks in together. So that was the system that main system that we've put together.
At the same time as the main cleanroom construction continues, massive air conditioning units are being assembled on the roof. They'll soon be essential to keep the facility cool and clean of any dust particles.
For us, the HEPA filtration and air conditioning is the critical part of this facility, because we're trying to get to the 7th grade of medical facility, clean room medical facility. So it's very important for us to get it installed within the next 2 weeks.
This is to be a high-grade, sterile medical production lab.
This facility is going to meet all the standards of ISO, the standards of a clean room grade 7. In order to achieve that, we engineered a special design with a HEPA filtration, with humidity control, with temperature control inside, to guarantee the quality of all our medical products that we are going to produce here.
Yeah, so the flooring was probably the biggest challenge for us because, as you know, the concrete has been used as a warehouse for 10 years. Everything's been over it. They've also had bolts put into the floor, so we had to grind those bolts down, make them flush. We had to actually cover them as well, and before we did the paint.
At the same time, Softmed is already fulfilling orders for hundreds of thousands of masks with imported product. They use decades of experience in international supply chain logistics to keep up with the increasing demand. Teams work 24/7, sorting, packing and distributing masks to outlets all over Australia.
The hardest thing has been working within the environment while they're still working within the factory. So they've had a lot of semi-trailers, a lot of containers coming in, and we've had to work together to be able to get our job done, but the client still needs to work within the factory at the same time. So that's been a challenge, but we've made sure that we've worked together to keep away from each other and try to get both the business happening at the same time as we're trying to do the construction.
As construction continues at a cracking pace, the pandemic worsens, and community groups and businesses begin to respond in their own way, offering help in their local communities wherever it's needed. One man who runs a small business, Leashit, on the other side of Melbourne, is deeply moved by the plight of some local elderly residents.
Yesterday I was standing outside the Baker's Delight and I was listening to a couple in front of me, an elderly couple, and they were trying to weigh up whether they buy bread or masks, and it really hit home for me and bothered me quite a lot.
Softmed steps in, providing 5,000 masks to be immediately donated to local residents in need. A local politician throws his weight behind the idea.
Well, I think Softmed coming to the party and helping shows that you know, you've got businesses that are willing to help when it counts, and quite often people forget that solutions are quite often found from business and the community, and we know that when business put their mind to it, they can come up with many of these solutions.
It bothers me a lot. I feel for the most vulnerable in this town, because most of them aren't even going out, or they've been stuck in isolation now, and when they do, they've now got to spend money to do it. And hopefully what we're doing here today can bring a lot more wisdom to the politicians of making these laws and fines so enormous, knowing that there are people out there that genuinely cannot afford or cannot get hold of masks and sterilizer.
Oh, it's terrible. I just think it's very sad. I don't know how I'd feel if I had to make a decision between a loaf of bread and some masks. And the least we can do is help those in the community. We picked Softmed, our company, as we decided to distribute the Softmed brand because it is the best mask in the Australian market. It's a level 3. It's what's used in the state and federal governments. It's in Chemist Warehouse, it's in Coles, it's in all the major retailers. It is the best mask, offering the highest level of protection. And that's our business is all about giving the best, so that's what we've decided to do.
There is nothing better than having locally Victorian-made products. That's what we've got to be backing. For me, that's a good idea, and that shows that the company's putting their money where their mouth is. They're showing support, local jobs, locally manufactured, and helping certainly our local community. Nothing better as far as I'm concerned.
Inspired by the gesture, several young locals pitch in to help repack the masks and hand sanitizer into small gift packs. It's a real team effort.
It makes me feel like I'm giving back and doing something really selfless and just helping out.
If masks can be given to everyone in Australia, especially Melbourne and the other areas, that can be perfect, so people can try and get through this virus as best as they can with little casualties, little infection cases, and stay healthy.
While many people have already chosen to wear masks outdoors, in the Australian state of Victoria, it's about to become mandatory due to a deadly second wave of COVID-19 infections.
First and foremost, masks and face coverings will, from 11:59 p.m. Wednesday night, be mandatory for everyone in Melbourne and Mitchell Shire. If you are out of your home for one of the 4 permitted reasons, then you need to be wearing a mask, and I stress, or a face covering. Now, the common sense will guide this. This is on the advice of the Chief Health Officer, that it's a relatively simple thing, but it's also about embedding behaviour that I think is going to be just as important on the other side of this second wave as it is in bringing these case numbers down. We are going to be wearing masks in Victoria and potentially in other parts of the country for a very long time. There's no vaccine to this wildly infectious virus, and it's a simple thing, but it's about changing habits. It's about it becoming a simple part of your routine.
Back at the Softmed factory, the main internal structure is almost complete. Large air conditioning units are lifted into place and fitted onto the factory roof. Now, air quality experts are called in to check the effectiveness of the air filters that will keep any dust particles and other impurities out of the clean rooms.
I'm smoke testing HEPA filters to make sure no particles can get into the room. This machine is calibrated to the same oil mist that we've got the smoke up in the top. And so basically any particle that comes through here will come through the tube, through the chamber and cut the light beam, and it won't tell me the size of the particle, it just tells me that it's coming through, and that's not acceptable. The thickness of a strand of hair is, say, 50 to 100 microns, and we're looking for 0.3. So, yeah, you can't visually see these microns, but the machine will tell me if they're getting through. So, this is what the test's for, so I need to tighten them up to make sure that the seal is 100%.
The HEPA filter is not allowing any smoke through, but because the HEPA is just sitting in space, the smoke's coming around the edge of the terminal. Once we tighten it up, the HEPA filter has a gel bath that will rise up and encompass a blade on the terminal, and that provides a molecular seal. They're producing a medical grade product, so the product has to be free from all kinds of contaminants, bacterias, viruses, anything like that, any particles that can carry those sorts of contaminants. So it's important that the air that the manufacturing is taking place in is as clean as possible.
And just weeks after occupying an empty warehouse, the construction phase is complete.
Just imagine what we've done in just 6 weeks. This beautiful manufacturing facility with HEPA filtration, with temperature control, humidity control, with interlock system, guaranteeing the high protection of access into the facility, which we can guarantee the best product for our consumers.
But now, the real work begins. Automated mask manufacturing production line equipment is installed, and engineers begin testing and trialling the machines to iron out the usual teething problems and get the production line running as soon as possible.
These actual machines themselves will be the surgical mask machines themselves, so we'll be making surgical masks here. There'll be other machines coming in. They're all masks of very different types. So these ones are the ones with the ear loops. We have another set of machines that will be having when you tie around the head, and a whole range of different types of all mask materials and masks that you need in the medical field and for general use as well. So these are 3-ply construction layers of material, providing full barrier protection against the virus, and stops anything from yourself being projected onto other people. We are able to fill from importing overseas, but one of the key things here is having Australian-made product, and this is what we're doing here. We have an Australian-made product that is produced on Australian shores in the local areas. Anyone in Victoria, Queensland, and everywhere else that they may need. What this also allows us to do, it allows us now to start doing some in-house development, product development for Australia itself as well. So it has a great lot of potential going forward, and gives us as an industry and a commercial industry, much more flexibility to be able to be a big part player rather than just a consumer. We can actually drive the requirements and drive some of the standards. With all of this, we're actually going through ISO certification, so we're getting the appropriate medical certifications of certain surgical grades that we need for manufacture. All of the products is tested. It undergoes through quality assurance, quality processes, and we also undertake testing as well to ensure we get the right biofiltration and the right grade of material as well, BFE levels as well. We're also installing some sanitisation equipment, so we'll be able to sanitise all masks and keep those medically clean as well. So that's more of a future state, but equipment that's coming in. So we're positioning ourselves so we have a level of flexibility to adjust to the market condition and market needs.
Quality is number one priority for us. Softmed mission is to provide the quality product, but we can still import some quality product from Europe or maybe even China. But the problem is the supply chain. In such a very unusual world situation, a very difficult situation, it's really hard to provide with a huge amount of products to the market through customs, through import, etc. So that's why we decided to secure the supply chain with the production here in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's certainly a good feeling. I mean, it's a great feeling to actually be part of trying to help the pandemic and being part of that, knowing that we're actually producing product that's going to help all Victorians, all of Australia, everyone all over, knowing that we can actually help fight against this terrible disease and this pandemic.
It's amazing. The guys at Softmed have put a lot of money into putting a state-of-the-art facility here in Melbourne. Operational in a few weeks. We will start manufacturing for the local market and export market the highest quality masks made right here in Australia with Australian raw materials. So there's been no imported materials. It's an Australian made product from top to bottom.
Within days, the production team swings into action. Packers in full sterile protective gear work to place the new Australian-made product into packaging for local stores. This is a significant moment in what has been a mammoth undertaking.
Just 6 weeks ago, this huge warehouse, 3,500 square meters, was absolutely empty. And in 6 weeks, we've built this facility from scratch. Basically with planning ahead, but we've built with people working 24/7, round the clock. And don't forget that we were supplying products to government, to different retailers at the same time. So it was quite a tough job, but we did it. We finally launched our production here, and it's just a start. We will continue to expand. We will continue to provide more and more locally made products to Australia.
The product is being made to the highest standards, with multiple layers of lightweight disposable fabric, including the all-important protective middle layer. It's medical-grade product which will help in the battle against the deadly virus.
This machine here will make one mask a second on average, maybe a little bit faster. So they're pumping out quite a rate, and that's just one machine. We've got got two machines here. There's more machines next door. There's a whole range of machines we're bringing in to cater for all the different range of types of masks that you need and the types that people prefer.
But it is heartening to see so many people listening to those messages, changing their normal habits and embedding mask and face covering wearing as part of just the normal daily routine.
And at last the big day has arrived. Australian-made high-quality masks are now packed into transport boxes and loaded onto delivery transport. They are destined for retail stores around the country to meet the growing demand.
It's very important to have the right mask. We need to feel confident with what we're supplying, not only our staff, but our customers as well. So we need to trust in the brand, we need to trust in the product. Do you know what? How good is that? At least they're actually made in Australia, and it's actually shown on the packet, which is fantastic. Thank you. How have sales gone?
They've been doing really well, Leah.
And the N95s?
Just as good.
Fantastic. I've got to say, I wear the N95 every day at work.
Both of them are great quality.
Here they are.
I can put that one up here.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Look, Softmed is made in Australia. Well, we'll make their products in Australia, which gives us great confidence in the product.
Hi. Hi, do you need any help there at all?
Hi, do you sell any masks?
Yeah, follow me. Sure. We've got a few different options.
How's your day going?
Fantastic. Now, are there any particular masks that you're after?
Well, not too sure. I just need to get more masks.
Okay, fantastic. So you have the surgical face mask and then you have the N95. One comes in a pack of 50 and the other one is a pack of 3.
I heard about that brand. It's really good.
It is good and it's also made in Australia as well.
Ideally, the Softmed N95 is the best mask to buy, only because it's the most protective, but their surgical mask is also very good. For me, it's important to be Australian made, it's important to be a reputable brand, and I think it needs to be appropriately made. Softmed will now manufacture in Australia, and that gives them greater control over the standards, over the product, and I think that's really important.
Can I just grab these two?
Of course. So you went with the surgical face mask?
Yep, thank you.
Fantastic. And there we go. Have a lovely day. Bye.
And while opinions vary about mandatory mask wearing, it seems that most agree on one thing, that mask quality is crucial.
Well, to be honest, I work in a place and some of the suppliers have been really kind, and then they've sent a few for us to use them.
Scientists proved that these ones are good enough. So.
Yeah, I'm going to upgrade from this. It looks a bit shabby at the moment.
But yeah, even before because I was following the guidelines for the World Health Organization, so even before the face masks were mandatory here in Victoria, I already wore them.
It's just to, prevent anything coming in the COVID, and even if it protects minimum amount, it's better than nothing.
I hope that we could get them like a vaccine soon, but in reality, I think it is going to take longer. So I imagine that this will go for longer than most people would like to.
Yes, I agree with that.
Totally agree. Why is that?
Because I want to keep myself safe and the people I care about safe.
And how long do you think we'd have to wear them for?
Till hell freezes over. That's how long.
Back at the newly established high-tech Softmed production plant, the media is now focusing on this local success story. The speed at which the production line has been established, the high quality of the locally produced product, and the experience of the supply chain operations, which will see the masks and respirators being rapidly distributed to outlets around the country.
You can find our products in different retail shops around Australia, not only in Victoria, not only in Melbourne, but around Australia. As a matter of fact, just a few minutes ago, we sent a couple of trucks, B-double trucks, full loaded of products to different retailers, not only in Victoria, but around Australia as well.
And within weeks of beginning Softmed's operations, additional automated production line equipment is now installed to increase the output and begin to diversify the range of masks, respirators and other PPE. Softmed management plans to steadily increase its product range to offer a wider selection of personal protection equipment for frontline health workers and for the wider community.
Well, I think that the major part of our mission is protection. This product is not just a simple consumer product. This is something for your safety, first of all, and we want to make sure that Australians will get the best quality products to guarantee the safety against not only COVID-19. We hope that it will end soon, but we have other different usage of our protective devices, and we will continue to expand our production. We will continue to grow for Australians to manufacture more and more, a wider range of different products and more products as well. We bring the raw materials, which goes in rolls. You can see behind me how we put it on the machine, and then we combine several different layers into one product. We add the rear loops, which should be nice. It should be tight, but at the same time should be the best quality, not irritate the skin of the ear, and to make sure that you breathe through the mask. At the same time, it is very important to guarantee the protection, because the middle layer, that's the one that's very important, and we only use a medical grade melt-blown. Melt-blown is a middle layer to protect you from any viruses, any bacteria, and that's very important. And we want to make sure that everything that we shipped from our warehouse is the best quality, and it contains, and all according to the best standards, international standards.
Now, as nations around the world each strive to develop their own strategies to fight the pandemic, communities and governments look to organisations and businesses with solutions, those developing vaccines and those producing the highest quality PPE. Companies like Softmed, demonstrating innovation, integrity and leadership.